us, right? So the United States, we got some pretty gnarly looking botnets that are out there that can simultaneously send every second over 1 billion packets per second. And if you have, n number of zombies that are out there that are all sending 1 billion packets per second, what's going to happen to WikiLeaks? Yeah. So it essentially becomes a DDoS, distributed denial of service attack, because these may be physically located in New York. You got 1,000 more located in DC. You got 1,000 more located in Santa Fe, Silicon Valley. So they're geographically disparate. They use the different routes to get there. So simultaneously, there could be a massive amount of opening threads that could come from this one bot herd. Specifically, if you recall the way the story for this computer targeted attack that we talked, Amazon immediately did what the next day? You remember?
Didn't they decide to quit hosting?
They did. They told WikiLeaks, take your stuff and get off of our network. And I think it was twofold there. They didn't want to have the federal government looking at the under the hood at Amazon for, hey, why are you hosting these guys that are willing to share some bad stuff, but also because you have 1 billion connections that are coming through. So it was a computer targeted attack right there. I remember I was the webmaster for we talked a little bit about the ISSA earlier today. I was the webmaster for the Tampa ISSA, right? And at that time, that website that I was voluntold by my boss to become the webmaster for, that website was hosted by a company out in Lakeland, which is out in the middle of the state, if you're not familiar with that. And this company was just one guy who had a couple, 3, at that time, Windows servers that he had IIS running, and he had it beaconing out to the internet. And what happened is I guess what he would do is in the introductory email to any customer that would come out and start consuming his website services, he would send the email, he would give the user ID, and he would give a temporary password. But with NAD, he wasn't forcing the next login attempt to change the password. And so out of his 160 some odd customers that he had, many of these people still had the default password. And let's just say that it is PATSS is the default password. All right? So the default password here, he sends it out, no problems, right? Well, one morning, I came into work and I got a phone call from the secretary or the vice president of the ISSA, and they said, hey, have you seen, and we're talking the Information Systems Security Association here, right? This person said, hey, have you seen the website? I was like, no, I haven't messed with it, because usually we post the event and then there's nothing else to it. I haven't messed with it. Well, you need to go check it out. It looks like it's been compromised. And I was like, And what we saw was that the Captain Morgan's guy and some Russian stuff was on the website, and it turned out for all 160 some odd customers that Captain Morgan was on their index.html page, so their main page for each one of those websites inside of there. And so this guy didn't have a clue. And me and a couple of other guys on our network security team were just like, dude, we're the ISSA. Look what happened, what you're doing on our website, what's going on? He's like, I have no idea, I need help. And so we volunteered to help him out. And what we found was that, like I said, there was, half of the customers here still had the default password, and the attacker somehow was able to get on somebody else's machine, one of these other customers' machines here, and find the password. And the way that he had it configured was that everybody had, through role-based access control, everybody had root privileges or administrator privileges to the www root on that Windows server, because that's the main folder that serves up IIS within Windows. You have that, access to that, and you can control any virtual directory that's underneath that. So, that's just not the best practice to do it. Certainly, you extend, hey, I don't have to do a lot of work. These guys have full control over this. That was his, the way that he looked at it. But really, what he did is he didn't practice the principle of least privilege, right? Gave carte blanche access to everybody, and this attacker was able to use the default password to be able to get onto one of the nodes here, and then did a directory traversal. You guys familiar with this one right here? Where you just do a backslash dot dot, backslash dot dot, like in Linux, or on DOS, you can actually go back a directory. He did the directory traversal from here to here. And when he had here, then what he did is he said, okay, let me RDP. And he was able to RDP to it. And apparently what he did is he had one index.html page that said something in Russian, and had the Captain Morgan's guy on it, and then he deployed it out to all 161 websites. So let me ask you this, because we've talked a lot this week about many different things. First, was there a law that was broken here? Hold on, don't answer that. And then second, how much is your integrity worth to you when not only one, but every one of your customers that he was charging $1,000 a month for, back then, for web services, right? To build the website, to have full scope, SQL Server, everything, right? Making big time money. How much is that worth? So the answer to the first one is what? What do you think? Was there a law that was broken here? Because the email could have been forwarded, could have been intercepted. Maybe somebody sold their computer, still had the email on the computer. I mean, who knows how that happened, right? So was there a law broken? I don't know. I don't know if there was. But yeah, probably in that case. What about how much is your integrity worth right there? Because what ended up happening to him is he lost almost every one of his customers. And then their friends talked to their friends, and then their friends talked to their friends, and then their friends talked to their friends. And a month later, he was almost out of business. And we ended up moving as well from there, because we were like, man, we can't have that. Turns out that the International Association offers free web hosting, which is quite convenient. And then they do all the maintenance, and they handle the DNS and everything, so it's beautiful. But I didn't find that out through the simple twist of fate here. But it's kind of like, once you got egg in your face right here with this, it's going to be difficult for him to get out of that, And that goes to the unauthorized modification or destruction. Maybe there was some sensitive information that was disclosed here. Certainly it was unauthorized access, even though the person had the valid user ID and password. That person was not supposed to access that. Did they use malware? I don't know, but certainly you could. You could use or write some sort of payload that would allow you to get on the system. So, whatever that is, it worked out pretty well for that attacker. because he ended up getting his name out there. And really, that's all he did. He just defaced the website. Conveniently enough that he did that, and that was it. So helping the guy out, just teaching him some MCSE stuff, where best practices to, change the password after the login, let it expiry every 60 days, and have a clipping level on there. Those sorts of just recommendations would go a long way for that guy. So in the book here, they talk about some of these different types of laws that, and these are kind of nice. For your exam, one thing that I don't want to do is scare the truckload out of you here with telling you got to go memorize all this stuff. Really, if you look here on page 61 in your book, this is a really cool looking map where it shows where in the world civil law, common law, religious law, and mixed systems are. And I think it's, did I put it up here? No, I thought I had it. So let's go through these and just talk about them a little bit. So it starts on page right here, 58 in your book. All right, so civil law is also called law code or code of law or legal code, and tries to exhaustively cover a complete system of laws in a particular area.